Yo guys, welcome back to NCS Arcade. Sam here. We're joined by a very special guest today. Rival's with us. How's it going, bro?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Yeah, good man, good man. Rival's going to be joining us to answer 10 things about himself. So I think without further ado, let's get straight into it. What's your process when it comes to starting a track?
When I start a new track, I usually just jam around on my little keyboard over here. I don't know if you can see, but if I like move it around a bit here, there you go. Or I just like stumble across a very weird sound, and then I start building that into a song or concept. And then, yeah, sometimes a song turns out of it. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but that's how I usually go about it.
How many songs would you say, like, from when you got that initial idea? Like, how much turns into a completed track, or is it just if you're feeling it?
It's hard to say. I'd say like almost 80 to 70%, 70 to 80% turn into an actual song. I'm not wasting too much.
Yeah, exactly. Making the most of it. If you could have produced any song, what would it be and why?
If I could have produced any song, it would be Given Up by Linkin Park. The album Minutes to Midnight was one of my favorite albums when I was a little kid. And that song just stood out to me the most because of its production and really timeless instrumentation. And the energy throughout the entire song is so intense and on point that, I don't know, that just really inspired me to start making my own stuff, really.
Let's talk about your new track, Throne. Where did the inspiration for that come from? And take us through as much as you want on that.
Alright, so my new track, Throne with Neoni, started on the piano. And I was playing this little ARP sound. I don't know if you can hear anything if I play something now, but it was there's just like 4 or 5 notes that just like play in a never-ending cycle basically, and that turned into this immersive world of Throne. And yeah, I got Neoni on it, and they put this amazing branding of kingdoms, throne, and war, and all of that into it. And yeah, it was just a lot of fun to make this project happen.
Did you have the idea of like the world of Throne beforehand, or did that come from Neoni's side?
So I was working with this weird FX technique of just making weird growling sounds. It sounded like they were supposed to be like warriors and people fighting and just like claiming for that throne, and the epicness just like kind of fall into place on that.
Did you have any input when it came to like the lyrics or the melody writing, or was that like all Neoni?
I'm usually giving us a few like pointers when it comes to lyrics and melodies, but I'm not the best lyricist to be fair. But I'm good with melodies, so I think this was like a co-performance here, especially for the build-up. But the main theme definitely came from Neoni here.
Awesome. And how are you feeling about the track, like so far, how it's going? Like I noticed like recently it's absolutely flying. It's doing so great.
Yeah, I mean, it's been amazing to see people enjoy the song so much, and I very much appreciate that.
What's your most memorable performance?
My most memorable performance, well, I haven't performed under my alias Rival yet, but I might have a few things coming up in the future, but I can't talk about them yet. But I'm very nervous, and I can't wait to like share my music with a live audience, as that has always been a dream of mine. It's much of a different experience, just like be in front of people while you play that music, versus just being in your own like four like walls.
Yeah, and we've missed all that with the past like 2 years, like even more so.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone who's starting to get into music production?
If I had to give an advice to someone starting out as a music producer, it would be that you should just do it for fun in the first place, and it might eventually turn into a business or like your career. But if your first intention is to make money out of making music, then I'd say that is the wrong approach. And there are like a few more things to becoming a professional musician in that way. You need to be very persistent. You have to learn how to deal with rejections, because you're gonna have to deal with that a lot, especially when you send out stuff to labels like NCS. You know, they have so many people sending them songs every day, and there's a very like the chance is very low that you actually make it on that label. But if you're good enough and you work hard enough, then I mean, it might eventually work out.
So have you found working remotely in the pandemic?
when the pandemic hit, things didn't really change for me on my end because I was still working in my home studio, and I'm very fortunate and privileged to be able to just like keep doing the things I used to do before everything went down the drain. So yeah, I'm very lucky to just make music right now, and yeah.
Did you find yourself communicating more online and getting on these type of calls with people because of those being stuck inside more?
Yeah, that's true. Like the online session game just increased highly because of the pandemic. You couldn't just really meet up with other songwriters anymore, which is sad. But I wasn't really sure how the online sessions are gonna like work out. But I was like, it works out pretty well, to be honest. I mean, you have these like audio movers software that you can use to route audio, and it's a weird setup though. Like I have my headphones, and then I'm routing the audio to the other person's laptop, and they have to record into like WhatsApp audio or Zoom audio, and we have to like prevent different feedback loops and everything. But it does work.
What's your favorite video game of all time?
I honestly don't play that often. Besides on like League of Legends every once in a while with some friends. But
Who's your go-to League character?
Well, that's a good question. I'd probably go for Shogat, if that's how you...
I think that's how you say.
Other than that, Ableton basically became my little playground. I mean, you can just tweak knobs and like... It's in a way similar, I'd say, you know. It's
Yeah.
like a game.
What projects have you been working on recently?
Recently, I've been working on like orchestral projects more and more, just blending different and varied genres into each other. And that could just be having a real violin recording on top of the virtual orchestra, or having a trumpet blast on the drop, just to give it a bit of more of a natural touch to it. And just like doing this crossover of EDM and movie music almost like is very exciting to me, and it has so many different paths you can go. Yeah, and that's what I've been working on.
Do you take inspiration from like movie scores and like soundtracks?
I think my biggest inspiration is always when I learn something new. There are always like some new like music theory gems or just like different ideas that I like involve into my songwriting and production. So when I have this like new modulation, I'm like super excited to try it out on like a synth, because I think it's something that, I don't know, has not been done before, at least not very often, just like modulate the key in an EDM song, just coming back and that only like 3 or 4 minutes time, because the songs are very short in comparison to like a classical piece.
Describe your music in one word.
If I would have to describe my music in one word, it would be ever changing. That's like a 2-word, 1-word thing, I suppose.
Why ever changing?
Because I don't really stick to any genre or style. If I get a new idea, I just produce a song and I just release it under my alias, unless it's like completely out of the theme I do. But I do everything between pop music and super gritty bass stuff, and it's always evolving into something different and new. And I want to keep that like as a core of the brand.